Welcome to the LA Soccer Hub Show. My name is Gio Garcia. Today is December 20th. Coming to you on a Sunday. Here talking about LAFC beats Club America 3-1 in a chaotic, emotional game that had, Miguel Herrera sent off at halftime. He had Eduardo Tuesta, got a red card, and just had all the emotions. And it looked like what people were calling on Twitter, LAFC was going to be CONCACAF, but they overcame, a 1-0 deficit, and Carlos Vela scores two goals in the second half just to start off in 1 minute. It was an incredible game by LAFC to overcome what they had to overcome. And here to help me talk all that, we got Daniel Schvartzman from TUDN. Daniel, ¿cómo estás? How you doing?
Hi, Gio. Thanks for inviting me. Let me tell you that this is the first time that I'm going to speak English. I think I'm crazy because I know that I'm not ready, but I'll give it a try. So sometimes I may use words in Spanish. So let's talk in Spanglish if that's okay for you.
Yeah, that's totally fine. We'll talk in Spanish. So Daniel, he was at the game yesterday. He's been covering the CONCACAF tournament this whole time while being there in the bubble, and he saw everything that went down yesterday. So let's start off with the start of the game. To start off the game, it looked like the game was even until America Sebastian Caceres scored the goal in the 11th minute. What did you think about America how they started off this game?
Gio, if I may, I would like to start with the context to understand what happened.
Okay,
I
we
think
can do
we
that.
have to understand the context. It was, I think, the most expected game in the tournament. Uh, First, many people thought it was like a test for the Major League Soccer. There's this debate if the MLS is reaching the level of the Liga MX. There was pressure and responsibility for the LAFC. Carlos Vela also, it was a very emotional game for him. He left Mexico when he was 50 years old. He went to Arsenal and never came back to Mexico. So it was special for him facing the first time the biggest Mexican team that it's America. The America had pressure also. They lost in the playoffs against Chivas, and this tournament was the only way for them to save the season. And they had internal issues, players with lack of effort, young players from the academy stepping up. They played terrible against Atlanta. Miguel said that they weren't scared from the LAFC because America, it's a greater name that the LAFC team. So that's why there was so much tension and a lot of stake in that game. At the beginning, I think LAFC was much better, but America scores first. It was a physical game, 39 faltas committed between both teams. And before, let me tell you that the referees had no personality. Of course, the CONCACAF referees they were so bad, and there is no bar. I think that with bar that would never happen. But I've been told that the real version is that the CONCACAF wasn't ready with bar referees. So every fall, the players scream so high, they exaggerate. That was like more pressure for the referees. And then it came the fight that you said. Everything happened so quick. I haven't seen a replay yet, but let me tell you that Eduardo Tuesta made a little contact with Ochoa in the box, and Paco Memo cried like if he was dying. So the ref showed Edward a red card. That was very important. And immediately I asked Edward what happened because if he hit Mem or what, because Edward was so angry that he was in the tunnel. So he didn't leave the pitch. I was near Edward and I asked him, and you know what he said? I did nothing. He's a payaso de mierda, like a clown,
A clown, yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like a B word clown, which translate. Yeah, and
yeah.
I thank you for bringing up the context because that is what what a lot of people and obviously you covering a lot of the Liga MX and you being with doing people are obviously starting to notice, and obviously no bigger name than Carlos Vela, especially playing for LAFC. And just to go back on what Miguel Herrera said before the game, I have his quote. He said, LAFC is a good opponent, but fear is really an inadequate word. We know LAFC is a strong team and that it does things well. We are an important institution, and Club America carries more weight than any MLS team. And I'm glad you brought that point because it kind of was showing like Miguel Herrera. he's not wrong to say that because it's Club America, but at the same time, you also got to back that up. And what you saying is Club America's had issues this season, and I know a lot of fans are calling for his head. They want a new coach. They're calling for Pio Herrera to be out, and for him to say that with a lot with everything that's going on with their club, and some of us, here covering LFC, we're not aware of what's going on, but he's kind of in the hot seat, right? He's kind of with everything how the Liga MX X season went, and for him to kind of make a statement like that, and it kind of comes off as like we're above LAFC when in reality, when I was watching the Atlanta United game, I was like, Atlanta United played a way better game against Club America, but I was like, you know what? Okay, they're just playing. They already have a 3-0 lead. They don't really want, they don't look, they don't have the pressure, right? But then I kind of saw the same thing that they dropped after they scored the goal. They kind of parked the bus on LAFC, and part of me was like, are they parking the bus because they don't think LAFC can score them, or are they parking the bus because they don't really have an offensive tactics? Like just different things. And I think it was a little bit of both. And to the point when Eduardo Tuesta, I saw the replay, and and you being there, it was seeing it, watching the replay, and it's unfortunate that they didn't have VAR. And I'm glad you brought up the point that CONCACAF wasn't ready with VAR referees. I think you should have VAR, because if you had VAR, right, that wouldn't have happened. Maybe Ochoa gets a yellow card and Eduardo Tuesta stays there. But then you may be about to start to have, you might have not happened. You might have not seen Carlos Vela score 2 goals in 1 minute, but we don't know what happened. What happened after that? But let's talk about what happened at halftime, because you were there. Pio Correa got sent off. We didn't know. All we saw on TV when it came back on, we just saw Pio Correa going to the stands, and we thought, I was like, okay, why are they having him in the stands? I think like him and Bob Bradley got into it. They wanted to separate them, and then I'm like, did he get sent off? Why wouldn't he not be on the field? He must have got sent off, And then you start seeing him on a walkie-talkie, and then you start seeing people with suits, and it looked like he didn't want to leave, and they were asking him to leave. So explain to us what you saw there and what happened from Miguel Pio Correra.
It was a mess, absolutely crazy. The first half ended, and the commercial break was the best part. I recorded everything. It's on my Twitter account. It's a video, a minute and a half, more or less, that has more than 120,000 views already. It's really impressive. There were many groups fighting, players, coaches, everybody. And one, Bob Bradley's assistant, pulled the hair of Miguel, and Miguel exploded. He swore, he was looking for fight. He said many times, "La concha de tu madre." It's like an Argentinian insult. It was shameful. I think that does not represent the America, the values of the club. And he has to lead with the example to be more intelligent. They were winning with one more player. So it was really shameful. And of course, the referee showed the red card to Miguel. And then when the second half started, Miguel stayed in the seats in the second row, and he didn't supposed to be there. And two people from CONCACAF were trying to take Piojo to another spot, and he didn't want it. He said, "Show me the rules. I'm staying here. What are you saying?" I know those two guys from CONCACAF are Carlos Fernandez, director of competitions of CONCACAF, something like that, and Matias Tetamanti, head of club competitions. So Miguel told them, "This tournament is a shit." After minutes of back and forth, finally, he finally went to the spot. But the show that he showed in the halftime, it was embarrassed, really. The players, a player from America, were laughing of his own coach. I saw it. It's on the video. So I think Miguel maybe is going to renunciar. Maybe he's going to step down from the team. Not only because he lost, because the way he lost and the way he handled everything, he was the first responsible for last night what happened. So that in the halftime show and in the beginning of the second half, Miguel lost his mind. So I think Miguel is we have to blame. If you're an America supporter, I think you have to blame Miguel for that loss.
Yeah, because you could think of the context, right? Right before halftime, Eduardo Tuesta gets a red card. Club America already have the lead. LAFC's frustrated because they got robbed. They feel like they got robbed. You know, they feel like a call didn't go their way because in that play, Eduardo Tuesta, just to go back, got kicked in the stomach and looked like there could have been a penalty, and that's why Eduardo Tuesta was on the ground. But to your point, everything was going for Club America, and then that little scuffle, whatever he had with the LAFC assistant coach, I believe, is Ante Razov, which is
Mm.
set him off. You know, and I'm just watching your video here, just live. You know, it doesn't make sense because you have the lead. LAFC's hot. LAFC's, you know, upset of what's going on. If you're Miguel Herrera, why get into that emotional battle with them? Like if you're right, if you know, and that's one thing about Miguel Herrera, right? With his emotions. That's the good and the bad that come with it, right? Like you get the emotion and passionate, but when it goes bad, it goes really bad. And we probably saw
It's the whole package with
yeah.
Miguel. You know that it's the whole package.
Yeah, right. So if we seen him at his best, and I think last night was one of his worst. And you know, just watching the video, it gives more context to actually what happened. And you know, it is an embarrassment to him because they also lost. They were up 1-0 and then they lose 3-1. And he's, you know, shown from the stance with the walkie-talkie, trying to communicate with his assistants or whatever, how to, you know, for the changes and all that stuff. And you don't really see that. You know, if you're sent off, you have to give, you know, you have to be respectful that you got sent off, and you also got to see what's going on. And it also seems that Club America is really a mess right now, and that's something that us and people covering the MLS are not aware. But we kind of saw the whole fiasco. Now, to me, when I saw this, I was like, okay, this is more of this kind of reminded me of like USA versus Mexico type of games. Like there's always emotion and everything like that.
That's what Bob Bradley said, Gio. Sorry, after the game, he said, Bob Bradley. That reminds me when I was coaching the U.S. national team against Mexico, that rivalry. So yeah, exactly that's what he said.
Yeah, no, and yeah, it was to that point. It reminded me of that, but obviously us not being there, no fans and everything, obviously relying on people like yourself. It didn't make sense for Pio Herrera to get that emotional when you have the lead, right? And, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense, and this is really a bad look on him because on the how things played out. Like I said, he was on the stands, and then to start the second half, Carlos Vela scores 2 goals in 1 minute. You know, he's looking frustrated. He's, you know, he's losing his mind, you know, up in the stands, and you know, people kept going and showing him, like people in suits kept trying to get him out, and he wouldn't leave. And it doesn't represent what Club America is, right? And it doesn't represent, like you said, those values and what's going on. And it's really showing that, you know, it's kind of just put on this stage that, and all into his comments that, you know, Club America has more weight than any MLS team. But when you lose to LAFC after making those comments and lose the way you did in an embarrassment fashion, you know, you kind of almost have to assume. Obviously, I don't cover Liga MX or anything like that. If he wasn't already on the hot seat before, he has to be on the hot seat. And we might have just saw his final game with Club America.
I think so. Maybe he will resign today or very soon. I don't know. You said about the game against Atlanta. Atlanta had 64% of the possession of the ball, and the man of the match was Memo Ochoa. So yeah, in fact, America was playing awful. It hasn't been a good year, a good semester for America, as it was a great game for Carlos Vela. Let's talk about the best Mexican player, the most gifted player in the last, I don't know, 5, 10 years for Mexico. He played incredible. He did everything right. You said the 2 goals in the 3 minutes. And you know what? I think that the stamp of the team, when LAFC beat Leon, they lost the first game 2-0, and then they won 3-0. And against Cruz Azul, at the, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, they were down 1-0. And then they got victory and again against America. So that tells me a lot of the LAFC resilience, and they know to fight back. And I know that Miguel Herrera ate his words. At least in Mexico, we say that se comió sus palabras. He said things about the LAFC. The America was greater. The LAFC was Gio, so much better last night at the pitch.
Yeah, you know, obviously, you know, me being with the team and covering LAFC, you know, I was like, okay, them being down 1-0, but then I was like being down 1-0 and with 10 men after door at West, I was at halftime, I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. Like, you know, I don't know. And I didn't know what happened at halftime and everything. And it goes like, you know, Carlos Vela, he scored in five goals in 4 games, you know, versus Leon, Cruz Azul, not Club America. we see that extra motivation. We saw how pissed off Carlos Vela was to start the game, and just when he scored that first goal, he uttered some words. I don't know if you saw that Carlos Vela kind of uttered some words in Spanish after he scored that first goal against Memo Ochoa, and you really do get to see his greatness, right? Anytime I tell people, if you haven't seen Carlos Vela live, when you see him and you go to a game, you really get to see like his greatness, and you really get to see when he touches the ball and he makes a quick little turn. He does things that are really, really hard, or that only certain people in this world that can do. He makes them look so easy with just a pass, a goal, or just certain things. And when you see him live, you're like, dang, he is really good. The ball just sticks with him, and how he runs with the ball is just this the same speed how he's running without the ball, and
Mm.
just his quick direct changing his quick directions and everything. And you got to see that performance. And also Liga MX fans got to see Carlos Vela, and everybody watching this CONCACAF got to see the greatness of Carlos Vela, and also the resilience of LAFC and Bob Bradley to have these guys come in the second half, start off, and motivate them like, we're not going down this way, and we're going to come back and win this game one way or another. And they just found the momentum, and two goals in 1 minute in the 46th and 47th minute just started things off right. And and it just everything started to work well for LAFC. And then Club America looked like they were never able to get back into the game. And LAFC did everything they did, especially on the defensive end. Even in the midfield, like Latif Blessing came in, and we saw Danny Masovsky come out for him. But like some of the changes that Bob Bradley made to have the game, and those quick decisions, and just like who to put in, who to sub in. Like a lot of credit has to go to Bob Bradley and his coaching staff, and also obviously the players and the way they performed last night.
For sure. And what you said about Vela, he's also a leader. He's such a strong player. I think that he thinks faster than the rest of the players. He know what he's going to do. He's one step ahead. And playing against a Mexican team was very special for him. There was a rumor last week that the America wants to hire Carlos Vela, but the Piojo said a couple of days ago that that was never going to happen because Carlos the contract of Carlos earned much money here that they cannot pay in Mexico, and that he also has some offers from Europe. So, but I don't know. Carlos doesn't like to be on the spotlight on the TV. So in Mexico will be very hard for him, and he's very happy in LAFC and the team and the city. Everybody's so happy with Carlos Vela, and he has scored 5 goals. He and André Pierre Gignac from Tigres are the leading scoring. So at the final, I think they were going to decide who is going to be the top scorer of the tournament.
Yeah, and I mean that's gonna be a great matchup versus Tigres. But before we get into it, I just want to finish a little bit more of this game. So LAFC is the first team to beat three Liga MX teams, in CONCACAF competition. How is LAFC, being looked at now after they beat Club America in Mexico, and the Liga MX teams? We know they knocked off Club Leon, right? Who's the Liga MX champions, but that happened back in February. We saw them beat Cruz Azul. Now we see them beat America, and obviously we're gonna see them play Tigres. If they're somehow right, they overcome and they beat four Liga MX teams, how do you think LAFC, the MLS, is gonna be viewed in Mexico?
They earn respect, absolutely. If there's one thing that to a Mexican it hurts that the U.S. People, the U.S. teams beat Mexico, it's in soccer. So Mexicans always say that U.S. They don't play good soccer. The MLS it's much lower level than the Liga MX. They are too far from us. They know now that it's very close. Teams like LAFC and others are very close now. So I think they earn the respect, and people who used to say that, I think now they are going to think twice when they say things about the LAFC and the MLS, because this victory was not only of LAFC. I think it was from the all MLS.
Yeah, no, and obviously this is obviously the only MLS team that was left after Atlanta United got eliminated by Club America. But there was just so much going into this, right? And LSC have also had a tough year, but they're in a tournament like this. If you get hot, you start you ride the wave, and that's what it seems like LAFC. Like they're starting to finally get in sync and everything, and they also got the motivation, and obviously they got the leader Carlos Vela Well, I know Bob Bradley had mentioned he may not be at his full form yet, but he's looking really, really close at his full form that we saw before his injury back in back in before the MLS back tournament. Before all this COVID stuff happened. I think he's really there. If not, he's really close. Especially the way he's scoring goals, and like you said, he reads the game so much faster than any other player, maybe on the field, or than some of his teammates. Just to be fair, but he knows when to make certain things. He knows, and he's more of the quiet leader, right? Like you said, he doesn't like to be in the
Mm.
spotlight. Obviously, we know that he doesn't really do that many media calls or press calls, but just for him to elevate his game out the way he's done it the last couple of days and taking it to the next level. Now they're gonna go ahead and face Club Tigres, who Club Tigres to me is looking really, really sharp. I don't think you're going to see some of the mistakes that we've seen Club America or some of the emotional things that happened with Cruz Azul or Club America. They look like a more sharp team. They look like a more decisive team, and they've I think they beat. I was watching the game. Olympia, was it 3-0? I forgot what they beat them. I was watching the game a little bit, but the teams they even at NYCFC they beat them pretty bad, but they control Tigres controls and dictates the game. How do you see this matchup with LAFC and Tigres?
I think Tigres is a favorite for this team. Since the beginning, I said that they were the favorites. The roster from Tigres, it's amazing. They just keep bringing players and players and forwards. Now they have Carlos Gonzalez. It's a Paraguayan extraordinary forward. He's not in the tournament, but that's that's what Tigres have. And a lot of continue with many players. 7 players from Tigres have played every minute of single game. The team that the team that they have, they know each other perfectly. They play 3 finals in the last 5 years, and since the first final, the most of the group they are together, so they know perfect the team. They have a lot of talent in every single line. They have Andre Pierre Gignac, that is um, arguable the second, third best foreign player that has ever come to the Liga MX. They had Guido in the middle. They had a great goalkeeper like Nahuel. The Tuca, it's a fantastic coach. So I think they have to be the favorite. You said against Olympia, against in New York Football City Club, they were so much better than they scored. They scored a lot of goals, and it's not even only Gignac. Everybody scores goals in Tigres. So I think they are favorite, but uh, it's going to be a tough, very tough, because LAFC, that's what he best does. He bites in all section of the pitch. So I think it's not going to be easy for Tigres. Tuca knows that. So they are going to be very careful. I think Tigres is favorite, but LAFC will face this game with no pressure, I guess, because nobody believe in LAFC after a not very good year and the CONCACAF. I mean, you said which teams they beat. Leon, this is the champion from the football Mexicano. Cruz Azul, one of the biggest clubs in Mexico, although they haven't won a championship in 23 years. And America. So they call him in Mexico El Mata Gigantes, the giant killer of the Mexican team. So imagine if they beat Tigres, they would have been the 4 of the, I don't know, 5 6 best clubs in Mexico. So that will be awesome. I think they had nothing to lose, and the pressure is going to be on the Tigre side.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on both those. Tigres is a favorite, but they also have the pressure, and we saw an emotional Pio Herrera crack under that pressure with Club America with everything going on. Tuca Ferretti, Gignac and Quinones, they look motivated. They look on point. I mean, the way they can, like I said, the way they control their game and the way they move that ball around, and I think we even saw Quinones, give assists to like when they played in NYCFC. I think he almost had
Three
every
three
three
assists,
three assists, right?
hat trick.
Yeah, 3 assists. So that midfield, that midfield, and then up top with Gignac, LAFC and their defense, in the midfield, they're gonna have their hands full. But it's gonna be an exciting game to watch, right? Because you have Gignac versus Vela, right? And you, like you said, you have LAFC have already beaten three Mexican clubs. Now if they beat Tigres, it's gonna be another whirlwind. But there's a lot there to handle. How do you see if LAFC are able to beat Tigres? How do you think they can beat Tigres?
I think they have to be very careful and on defense with Gignac, with the the air ball, el juego aéreo, it's going to be very tough for the LAFC. They have to be very concentrated. And of course, they had to play al contragolpe, with Carlos Vela on one side, with Rossi in the other side. And I think that's the best part of LAFC. Very careful on defense, on the in el juego aéreo, and with Carlos Vela, he has to step up yet again against the Tigres that they had. I think their last opportunity, because many players from Tigres are like 30+ year old, and next year they are not going to play this tournament. It's going to be America, Monterrey, León, I think Cruz Azul. So they had to step up too. But I think that could be the key of the game with Vela, and especially on defense,
Yeah, and
taking care of
I should
Gignac.
also mention, obviously what's at stake here. You have the world competition, right? The Club World Cup, and I think maybe was it Qatar? Or I'm not sure where it's playing, but the winner of this goes to the Club World Cups. Plays teams that I don't know who's in it. Like typically teams like Barcelona, Real Madrid, like the biggest clubs in the world
Mm-hmm.
are in this tournament, and this gives LAFC an opportunity to also be on the world stage with all those other big clubs just yet in their third year, potential, going into their fourth year. That would be such a feat. And also being the first MLS team to ever win the CONCACAF, and to get there, that'd just be quite the feat for LAFC, and just to accomplish that. I know who they beat to get there. And there's a lot of pressure because Tigres want that. The Tigres want to get on that world stage, and I know LAFC want to get on that world stage as well. But there's just so many different things, and I agree with you. Some of and I think it's gonna be a tough task going against Tigres, because where we've seen the LAFC be vulnerable is in the air, in the air, and that's where Tigres has been the best. Like Gignac has had a couple header goals, it's been incredible, and we saw yesterday when Club America scored their first goal, or their only goal, they scored it off a corner kick header, and that's where sometimes the LAFC is more vulnerable on those set pieces, and that's where we've seen Gignac be better in the air and all those different things. But I think, to your point, if they're able to be patient and if they're able to come on that counterattack with Carlos Vela, we haven't really seen too much of Diego Rossi, but I think if we see a Diego Rossi a little bit more integrated into the game, and I think at times with these Liga MX teams, the game of the pace of the game's a lot quicker, right? I think we saw it in Cruz Azul, even Club America, and the game is going to be a lot quicker, even with Club Tigres, and especially with those counterattacks. Do you see that same point? Do you view it that way?
I think so, yeah. And you know what? I think Rossi plays better with no Carlos Vela on the field. In the games that Carlos Vela was not with the team, I think Rossi step up, and maybe he's like the start of the team. So I think he plays better when Carlos is not on the pitch. But it's going to be tough. Tigres, they have never won this tournament before. So I said maybe it will be their last time. And it's amazing. You said LAFC, it's what, 3-4 years? What they've achieved, it's like, if I know this team like forever, for many, many years. No, it's a very short story, but they succeed in that short period of time. It's amazing for the team.
Yeah, no, and you're right about that. Just like with that short period and everything that they're doing right now, it gives everybody in the MLS. I know whether you're an LAFC fan or not, but it gives teams in the MLS just not just hope, but like momentum and positive. Like yeah, like that we're growing. Look at where LAFC is at. Look at where the MLS is at, and everything's going the right way, right? But also, I wanna ask you, do you feel like a lot? I know we've seen players like Pizarro and we've seen players like Carlos Vela, but do you feel like players like that are younger, like 15, 16, will start to transition to MLS clubs instead of going to the academies or the second teams in Liga MX teams? Do you think they're going to start, like, hey, instead of staying in the Liga MX team, let me go to an MLS team. Let me go where Carlos Vela is at, or let me go to Atlanta United, or let me go to any MLS team that I see things are going.
Absolutely. I think that's the future, and that's what the Mexican player wants right now. Uh, Besides the preparation, professional as a player, they love to be in the US. They have better quality life for them, for their family. So most of the Mexican players that come here, yeah, it's sometimes because of money, but also because they wanted to live here. And now the MLS has grown a lot in the academies. They had a great eye. Many players now they come from the academies near where the teams are. So yeah, I think that is very attractive for Mexican. And there's this idea actually that MLS and Liga MX they can make a fusion in the future maybe. So yeah, I think MLS it's growing a lot in every single way, in the show, in the players, in the level, in the young people, in the young players, of course. So yeah, I think in every single spot, MLS is is winning and winning every time more to the Liga MX.
Yeah, no, and it's definitely getting more attractive. And to your point that those rumors that we've heard that Liga MX and MLS. I know I believe Don Garber was on ESPN. I think with Taylor Twelveman talking about that. But he said just to paraphrase from what I remember, he said that they were far away from that. There's a lot of different things because how MLS handles the salaries and player caps and different things like that. There's a lot of things going on, and you also got to imagine how many teams there are in Liga MX and how many teams there are in the MLS. Maybe we don't know if you'd have like a pro relegation type of thing like you do in Europe. And that'd be very interesting, but very I don't know. Like I don't know how I feel about that right now because the way MLS is growing and they're developing, and then just to combine one big like super league could be entertaining, could be enticing, but I don't know. I as of right now, I'm not that excited because I like the competition where you have Concacaf and where it's raising the bar. But let me ask you, I've also heard of like MLS teams, and I think Liga MX playing in Copa Libertadores. What do you think of that, and have you heard that?
Mexican teams used to play in Copa Libertadores, and that was the best thing ever. They increased their level facing South American teams that they are so hard, so strong. Mexico had many great players when they used to go and play Libertadores. You remember Cruz Azul when he
Mhm.
faced Boca, Chivas when he faced River. So I think that really helps to the Mexican player to get like a international touch with another kind of level, another kind of football, very physical. I think they grow a lot playing against the Libertadores. I know that the distance are very hard, and sometimes also the schedule and the calendars, everything. It's not easy, but I think that will be a great idea if it is possible that MLS and Liga MX will uh, will participate in the Libertadores. Also, in the economical side, it's going to be great for everybody. I'm sure that Copa Libertadores and the South American teams would love to have Mexican and MLS teams. They had a lot of money also, but in the level of the football, it's great. Especially now with the teams with MLS, I think that will be awesome for them. I really loved watching Copa Libertadores when the Mexican team participated. When they stopped doing that, I really stopped watching a lot of Copa Libertadores.
Yeah, and to your point, and that's when I was younger too. When I was young, I remember those, and that's how I found out who Boca Juniors was, and then that's how I found out who River Plate was, and that's when you expanded and you started seeing all these different players. And I hope we do get back to that, right? And also, you add the mix of the MLS teams to get there. Imagine seeing Carlos Vela and Bob Bradley, and the rest of the team, going up against Boca Juniors, or going up to I think Pena. I don't know if Pena was there, but also Pena where Diego
Mm.
Rossi, and Brian Rodriguez came, which is just exciting. How do you what do you make of LAFC and how they recruited such a young talent? Because not that many people in Liga MX or Mexico know LAFC outside of Carlos Vela. I mean, they may have known Bob Bradley, but there's no really other big name outside of Carlos Vela, right? So people are starting to see who starting to get to know Latif Blessing, who was rumored to be linked to Tigres, and then Bob Bradley shut that down. But what do you make of the fans getting to know the rest of this team?
That's outstanding book because it's not only Carlos Vela. LAFC has a lot of talent and well-developed talent and a great eye. For example, Mahala of Poco, who scores in two games ago, Bob Bradley went to Ghana, to Accra, to an academy 5 days, and he saw it and he said, "Yeah, I want this guy." and I think on October that they signed it. So they made a really great job, and maybe some of the players, like we say in Mexico, it's not no es un equipo de nombres, sino de hombres. It's not like stars, but it's like
It's not it's not a team full of stars, but a team full of men.
a team full of men, exactly. So maybe besides Vela or Rossi, the rest are great players. They are not in the spotlight, because of the start of the team, but the talent it's there. They work great. And some said that when Edward Atuesta was injured, it was more important that Edward was not on the pitch than Vela. And in Mexico, nobody knows Edward Atuesta, but now they know. Now they know Latif. Now they know the people from LAFC. So I think that's great for them.
Yeah, and to your point, Eduardo Tuesta, because Eduardo Tuesta is right there in the midfield. He really controls the game, right? If you think about it about basketball, he's like the point guard, right? He gets the ball, he dictates where the ball is gonna go. He tries to dictate, okay, let's get more offensive, or let's get the ball more to Carlos Vela, or let's get an aerial pass. How do you think this game is gonna match up for LAFC, because they're gonna be without you know the player that helps them control the game. Obviously, you do have Janela, you do have Latif Blessing, but how do you see this LAFC team without Eduardo Tuesta?
It's going to be very hard because Edward, besides that he's a great player, he's like a leader in the midfield. So not having Edward Atuesta, it could affect mentally to some of the players that feel unprotected. Maybe I think Edward it's such a key player. I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Edward. Other guys going to have to step up. So that's why I said that the keys is going to be the airplay and Vela and Rossi, because at the midfield there's Guido, there's Carioca with Tigres, and I think it's going to be very tough to beating the Tigres in the mid half.
Do you think, I know that I've been seeing this around on Twitter, but do you think there's any chance that Eduardo Tuesta's red card gets renounced, or they take the red card away after looking at the replay? Do you think CONCACAF will do anything like that and let Eduardo Tuesta play in the final, or do you think no, it's not going to happen?
You know what? That's a great question. I haven't heard anything here at Orlando, but I will ask because I don't know. It will be like justice. Edward did nothing. That's not a red card, and with no bar, it's so hard for the referees. I would love to see Edward Atuesta and make justice and make the right call for the referees for the CONCACAF, but I don't think so because it was already a mess that game. So if they overturn that call, maybe they're going to like to accept that they lost control absolutely. So I see that it's going to be very hard, Edward, to play. I would love to, and I will ask if they know something about it.
Cool. That'd be great. That'd be great to hear. Everything. All right, Daniel, give us a prediction. What's your prediction for the final?
Honestly, I think Tigres is a better team. It's going to be a tough match, but I think Tigres because they have the whole team. It's a completely team. They know each other perfectly. They have so much talent. They control the ball very good. They have, I mean, having Gignac on your team, it's like wow. I'm entered to the pitch and I'm already I'm winning like 1-0. Gignac normally always scores. He I think he intimidated the opponent. The Tuca, it's great. He's awesome. He knows everything. He's perfect. He knows his players. They had a good bench. I mean, I see Tigres that they have no fault. So I think they are going to win by one goal. I hope not. I hope LAFC can step up, but I know they are going to will, but it's going to be very hard for them without Edward. I think they lost a lot. That's why they have to be very concentrated, very focused mentally in the important moments. So I think Tigres is going to win 2-1. That's my
Yeah,
prediction.
I'm with you. I think they're the favorites. I also think if there's any year that an MLS team wins it, it's this year, right? And to your credit, right, Gignac is an incredible talent. But if there's any year that an MLS team wins it, It has to be this year. I don't know how they win it, and I'm with you. I think they got if LAFC wins it, they win it by one. This game's going to be decided by one goal. I don't see Tigres beating LAFC 3-0 or 2-0, 4-0 have they beaten the other teams. But I also don't see LA even if they go down because they've been down every single matchup against every single club, and we have the resilience. I think LAFC, if they do win this game, they win this by one, but they're gonna have to play like an almost perfect game without Eduardo Tuesta, with no mistakes and limited mistakes in the back line that don't really cost them. And, obviously Vela being at his best, showing his greatness one more time at his best, and, helping LAFC overcome this win. But Daniel, man, I appreciate you. That's all the time we have. For the people that don't already follow you, and obviously you're in Orlando, you're covering the CONCACAF, you're going to be at the final. Let the people know where they can follow you.
Sure. My Twitter account, it's Daniel, 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 TUDN, TUDN. So that's my Twitter account. And another point is that on the final, they're going to play, if it's necessary, extra time and then penalty shots.
Oh, so they are going to play extra time. Okay, I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
in the other rounds, there was directly to penalty shot that there was never the case. But now it's going to be, if it's the case, an extra time and then penalty shots. That if that's the case, I think Tigres has the advantage, especially for Nahuel Guzman. He's a great goalkeeper, and he gets into the mind of the opponent. So I think that's a plus for Tigres.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought up that point about the extra time because we haven't seen extra time, and I think we haven't seen extra time because they wanted to have these games as quick as possible, and haven't seen we haven't seen a game go to penalties, and I don't want to see this game go to penalties. I want to see, even though I know that's emotional, I want to see I want to see one of the teams win either in extra time or in the full time because in penalties anybody can win it. But I hope someone wins it either in the regular time or extra time. For me, I'm just not a fan of, I guess even if LAFC wins it, but it just doesn't feel like, at least to me, it doesn't feel like, okay, they really beat them. It kind of almost feels like penalty. Sometimes it could just be like a
Like
flip
a
of a
flip
coin.
coin.
Yeah, like a flip
Yes,
coin.
exactly.
So it's,
I get you.
but I mean but that also goes to show how equal the teams really are.
Yeah.
How equal the teams really are. But it's gonna be exciting, man. I'm happy you're there. I'm happy you're able to cover it. And guys, give him a follow and check out his Twitter. Obviously check out the video of Miguel Herrera losing it. There, he has it right there on his Twitter. I was watching it, so a lot of insight, and it's awesome. That you're there and you're able to help us on, and I appreciate you being on. Guys, if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to give this a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. You can also listen to this podcast on Spotify, wherever you get your music. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Gio Garcia LA, and make sure to check us out on LA Soccer Hub, posting all the breaking news, content, soccer content, the goals, and everything from CONCACAF. For Daniel, this is Gio. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye, everybody.